AI isn't just a product question anymore, it's a governance question. The EU AI Act will reward companies that can turn regulation into disciplined execution. In this module, you'll see how to turn legal requirements into clear policies, repeatable processes, and auditable documentation that actually guide how you use AI. Treat the EU AI Act less like a checklist and more like machinery that has to keep running. Legal intent is translated into policies, the rules and expectations. Processes then turn those rules into day-to-day behavior. Documentation proves that what you say is happening really is. Together, this operating model is how you design, buy, and deploy AI compliantly. Your AI policy is the rule book for how your organization innovates with AI. It rests on your values and ESG commitments, and it must answer 3 practical questions. What are we trying to achieve with AI? Where does the policy apply, including vendors and high-risk systems? And what exactly counts as acceptable versus prohibited AI behavior in our business? Human oversight goes beyond keeping an eye on the AI. It's about deciding how much control people retain at each stage. In some cases, humans directly approve or reject AI-supported decisions. In others, they monitor and adjust performance, or simply set guardrails. In every scenario, there must be clear authority to override, pause, or stop systems, and clear accountability for outcomes. For high-risk AI, use a quality trinity mindset. Data governance keeps inputs trustworthy. You know the data's origin, its accuracy, and where bias could enter. Fairness focuses on outcomes, so results don't systematically disadvantage particular groups. Transparency makes the system and its limits understandable and disclosed, so users and regulators can verify those claims. Under the AI Act, you plan on the assumption that some AI will misbehave, and you make that survivable. First, detect problems fast. Safety incidents, rights violations, or performance drift. Next, escalate material issues quickly to legal and compliance. Then close the loop with root cause analysis, corrective actions, and updated policies or controls, so the same issue doesn't recur. In this context, documentation isn't administrative overhead, it's your shield. Regulators, customers, and courts will often treat not documented as not done. Each material AI system should have a named owner and enough resources to keep documentation current, accurate, and trustworthy over the system's lifecycle. For high-risk AI, think of the technical file as the system's passport. It describes what the AI is intended to do, how it's designed and built, and which data it depends on. It also logs identified risks, mitigation measures, and validation or testing results. When regulators, customers, or your board ask for proof, this file is the evidence base that shows you understand and control the system. Under the EU AI Act, deployment starts a new oversight cycle. It isn't the finish line. You need signals from 3 sources: performance metrics to reveal model drift, incident logs to capture failures and edge cases, and user feedback. Those inputs must trigger predefined actions: retrain the model, redesign parts of the system, or temporarily switch to a safer fallback option. You don't need a separate compliance machine just for the AI Act. Instead, layer its requirements onto GDPR and your existing security framework. Extend DPIAs so they explicitly cover AI impacts on fundamental rights. Then ensure AI systems are consistently included in vulnerability scanning and penetration testing routines. Treat AI vendors as passing through a controlled gateway before anything reaches your environment. Start with RFPs that ask, what AI is inside and how is it classified under the Act? Follow that with procurement checks that demand evidence, technical documentation, risk controls, and testing results. Finally, embed this into contracts with clear liability, cooperation, and incident notification clauses. A coherent ownership model separates direction, execution, and control. An AI governance body sets policy and risk appetite. Process owners convert that intent into concrete lifecycle decisions. Technology and data teams build, operate, and document systems. Independent control functions then monitor legal and risk issues, creating healthy tension and avoiding blind spots. Now translate this into a practical plan. First, formally designate a decision-making body that can approve, condition, or stop AI initiatives. Next, define a simple life cycle. How AI systems enter, are changed, and are retired. Then introduce standard documentation templates across teams. Finally, run a gap analysis against your current policies and controls to see what needs upgrading. Your role is to set direction and remove ambiguity. Establish clear AI policies and ownership so people know who decides what. Require deep, audit-ready documentation for material systems. Then integrate AI into existing GDPR, security, and risk processes so compliance can scale with your AI ambitions. In practice, policies, processes, and documentation are how your EU AI Act strategy becomes real. Your responsibility is to set expectations, assign unambiguous ownership, and fund the work. In the next module, we'll focus on how to embed this operating model into everyday business and technical routines.